Hey everybody, this is Dr. Julie Quinn. I'm an English professor here at Nova, and I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how to set up an MLA first page. The software that I'm using is Microsoft Word. If you're using Microsoft Word in a version that you registered for with your Nova email, it may be the online version, and so some of your little toolbars may be in a slightly different place. Note that there is some redundancy built into Microsoft Word so that there's multiple ways to do the formatting. And if you already know how to do it, that's fine. This video was for students who are just unfamiliar or would spend a couple of years. If you're writing in Mac Pages or OpenOffice or Google Docs, you can go to YouTube and find similar tutorials on how to set up an MLA first page, but it's really easy. The first thing I always do is that I make sure if I go into the Home tab right here, you can see that your fonts are in Times New Roman 12-point font. That's the standard for MLA papers. It's the easiest one to read and the one that your professor is probably most familiar with. So that'd be the one that I would choose if I were you. The second thing you can do here is you can go to paragraph and make sure your line spaces are doubled and that there are no additional spaces anywhere, just so that the spacing starts correctly from what we call part one, the biographical information. Imagine my name is Jane Doe. So I would put Jane Doe on the first line. You'll notice there's about an inch of margin here and here. If we go to layout, we go to margins, I'm in the normal margin setup. So the margins I just don't mess with them at all. But that's something you can double check. So this little gap here and there, perfectly fine. Say professor's name is Jennifer Jones. And your professor's a PhD, so Dr. Jennifer Jones. So professor's name next in the class, English 111, right? And then the date, they'll say today's date, May 26, 2022. The traditional way to do that, you don't need like the THs or anything, but you do want to have a comma between the day and the year. Note proper capitalization of titles, of first letters and names, of the three-letter acronym of the class. You could also say college composition 1. I don't think your professor will have much of a preference. So the next thing you do is you go down one line, and then you can put in this title placeholder. You can set this up, and you can even leave this in your template file and know that for different classes, you just change the name of the title, the class, and the date, but it reminds you of what goes where. One of my favorite sites, by the way, to make sure that I've done proper capitalization is I'm going to add a little note here, would be capitalize my title, I can spell it right, .com. That is a great website to help you in MLA style or APA style on not just how to capitalize the title of a paper that you're writing, but if you tend to mention any articles in your body paragraphs themselves, it will help you determine what to properly capitalize. So I would use capitalizemytitle.com to just remind you of what to capitalize. You want to capitalize first and last words, nouns, adjectives, adverbs, verbs, first and last words and words after a colon. But instead of having to memorize all of that, which is kind of a hassle, just use capitalizemytitle.com. It's a wonderful website and it makes life really easy. We're actually almost done. So in APA style, this is just the top of the page, but there's a section above that's blank. That's the running head. If you double click into the running head, you'll get the header and footer sub-tab. And putting in your page numbers is as easy as this. You click on page number, that's to the left of that tab. You choose top of page, and you choose the third option, which is the right-hand side. You'll notice that the cursor is right in front of the number because it's anticipating that we're doing an MLA style. And then you just type your last name and add one space, and we're good to go. If that's in a separate font style than this, I don't think really any professors care about that. Finally, hit return. Your body paragraphs that come after the title are not going to be centered. You're going to go over here back to align left. We call this left justification. And then the thing that I would do if I were you is I'd go into my paragraph settings and make sure my indentation, first line. This will just make sure that your paragraphs are indented. So you just have some sort of sample text, but you can see how that's indented. And if we had written an entire paragraph, let's see what it looks like. Okay, so you can see how when I kept writing, and then if I write another paragraph, it indents again. Now, for this quiz, you do not have to write the sample text, but it's not a bad idea to just put a little sample blurb there so you can show your indentation. And this is it for MLA first page formatting. There will be other video tutorials a little bit later on in-text citations and works cited entries for that time in the course when you get to your research and your documentation. But for the first page and for narrative assignments, this is a really good way to start. It shows that you're attending to audience considerations and that you're much closer to submitting your work in a standard format that your professors will be very familiar with. I wish you great luck on this quiz and reach out to your class section professor if you have any questions.